I wanted to talk tonight as I was preparing for this class. I kept thinking a lot about what does it mean to be a fighter? What does it mean to fight for love, you know? And I was thinking a lot about that because as you know, I have this deep connection to Harriet Tubman. And in the last few months before, even the election, Harry was like, "You're gonna have to fight." And I was like, "Oh no, what is fight? Fight how? Fight like I'm nonviolent. What do you mean?" And I'm starting to understand that on a very different level. There is something about doing the bodhisattva fight is the bodhisattvas like we're overcoming ourselves first, we're healing ourselves first. And I know everybody uses the cliche of Star Wars, I do know that, but in my lonely hours I am a huge Star Wars fan, and I often watch Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, and I like to watch the part where Luke is training with Yoda. And Yoda, when he was training Luke, he kept saying, "Be aware of the dark side. You're not ready to take on this big fight. Stay here, train more." No, it's very, very powerful. Let go of the hate, let go of the anger. And he was really fighting to let go of that. And I was thinking, oh, that's the fight of the heart. Right? It's like, how do we let go of our anger? And so the words patience and perseverance were really coming to me. Like we overcome with patience and perseverance. And I was thinking a lot about that archetype of the bodhisattva, or you could use the archetype of the Jedi. First, Luke had to train and train and train to make sure he didn't have anger and hatred, because the danger is if he went out into the battlefield, he would become the darkness. He would succumb to it. Right. And I feel like I worry about a lot of activists right now, or people who are out in the world and they're like, they're full of this fight energy, and they're running out to try to do something, lead something. And I feel like, no, everybody, it's not the right time right now. This is a whole new game, right? And we have to actually be deep in practice for a while. Whatever's going to happen in the wider world, the causes and conditions are so vast, so big, so monumentous. But what the power that we do have is the cultivate. It's kind of like I see us more as like in the cave, right? More of like we're out in the forest. We're like, okay, heart, let's get down to the work. Where is this in me? Where is greed, hatred, and delusion in my heart? How can I strengthen the heart? So when I'm ready, my actions, all the actions, every word, body, speech, and mind becomes wise because it resonates with metta and compassion. And that's when we become powerful. That's when we're affecting consciousness. The internet, it's so interesting. It's just an echo chamber of the collective consciousness. That's all it is. It's humanity talking to itself. If you look at the highest teachings on emptiness, it's just like conversations with itself over and over and over. And it's becoming so transparent. We can see things that we didn't see before. So I say all this because the fight that I'm asking all of us to undertake is the one that is with our own heart. And do we have the patience and the perseverance right now to continue to really practice? Because if we're not rooted in the heart, everybody, this tsunami, I talked about the tsunami last week of greed, hatred, and delusion, is like, it will take us out to sea. The heart now is our boat, right? This boat has to be so strong it can sail through these oceans right now. And we have to every day we're gonna have to fortify it, just like when Baba was ringing the bell every hour. He's like, okay, here we go again. It's like, this is the patience and the perseverance that we actually need. I'm very hopeful that I can acquire this land in the summer and get a retreat center. And then all the retreats is going to be heart retreats, silent practice, grow the heart, because we actually, in order to make that turn, the great turning, it's fine for the system to collapse, but we want to be ready when the new buildings are erected, the new systems, right? Our consciousness, that frequency, that is the higher consciousness, that is the energy of the heart. And I was studying a lot over the last few days, and I was studying this text, The Path to Enlightenment by the Dalai Lama. And he was just talking so much about without love and compassion, there is no Dharma. That at the foundation of every Dharma practice, everything rests on the heart being centered in that frequency. And that does take a lot of practice, right? We got to go. And that's where the patience and the perseverance comes in. Those are two words that kept coming to me. Patience to meet this moment. And that means patience with all of fellow humankind, right? It's like not only the patience with ourselves, but it's like patience with humanity, right? We have patience with humanity. We're learning how to respond to anger with patience. And it's not that we're turning away. That's not it. What we're doing is we're going in so that we can really be of service. You know, and I thought a lot about the Buddha's night of enlightenment, and there's such a profound message in that moment. So, you know, Siddhartha's under the Bodhi tree, 5.5 long years battling where in his mind, right? The demons of Mara, you know, the darkness. And one of the things that as he was under the Bodhi tree on the night of enlightenment, they say Mara attacked all night. Mara is he's the personification of the architect of all the demons. Imagine the creator of all, the biggest demon there is was attacking ruthlessly. Here's the Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree. First, he attacked with all the violence, right? And the Buddha saw 10,000 armies coming toward him. They were throwing fire bombs and, you know, and it was like, and you know what he did? He didn't jump up and try to fight. He would have lost. What he did was he saw that it was an illusion, and he turned his heart into metta practice. And he started sending love out. And the power of that, they say all the weapons fell and everything became lotus blossoms. Right? So it was the battle, the biggest battle with the biggest demon in the universe was overcome with metta. Take that in for a second. This is the practice that we are doing right now. This is the power of the heart. And so, but we have to have that patience and that perseverance to not give up. Right now, we have to not give up on ourselves, and we have to hold that frequency. Hold the frequency to not look away, to not back down, but actually to hold everything in the heart, right? We just keep breathing in everything, breathing out, coming back to our bodies, coming back to our hearts. And there's perseverance in our practice that is needed now, everybody. What used to maybe a little bit to get by, you might notice you get swept up in this tsunami. Try watching the news for 1 minute, and the fear and the energy of that, it's like the 3D world is about to be really in a state of collapse here. And so what that means is our practice becomes more continuous. We have to carry this frequency of love, not just for ourselves, but for our family, our friends, our communities, and just for our own peace of mind and well-being. So perseverance is one of the biggest heart qualities connected to metta. And it's perseverance is a word that's used in the suttas constantly. We must persevere through all the obstacles, all the difficulties. I tell you what, I have a class coming up called The Road of Trials, using obstacles on the path. I mean, Lord Jesus, Buddha, I've had so many obstacles in Georgia trying to establish this retreat center. I mean, it's like, it feels biblical. I mean, at times. And I'm like, oh my God, broken bones and betrayals and anything that could go wrong. It's like, I was like, oh, right, perseverance. Feel like I'm one of the apostles, you know? And I think I just have to keep on keeping on. Right. And there's nothing else to do but let go and come back to the heart. And then again, as you're connecting to your heart, it guides you with its own brain, its own wisdom. Right. It's a protection. It's a protection not only for your mind, but your body, your heart. It's a force. And it connects us to all of those bodhisattvas. We are the frequency of them. They can talk to us. We can talk to them. We are in the harmony we're in the resonance of the great heart. And it's like it's almost like you have an elevator and all of us were just living in the basement. And then one day we went into the elevator and we went to the first floor. And we're like, wow, there's a first floor here. And then we noticed that there's like 10 more floors. And we're like, what? But every time we do this heart practice, we're accessing different levels. We suddenly the elevator's on the 5th floor. And we're like, wow, look at it around here. We're not in the basement now. So I use that as an analogy because the heart is the frequency of the higher realms. These practices that we're doing are called Brahma Viharas. Brahma means God realm, heaven realm, right? Vihara means vehicle. So we are practicing the 4 Brahma Viharas, the 4 divine heavenly vehicles. So these frequencies are our vehicle. Like we put in we put in the great heart energy and we're in a vehicle that can carry us through this period. And it can enable us to be led with wisdom, heart wisdom. That's what all of us want out of humanity right now. Do we not? Where's the heart? Where's the wisdom? Well, we are the medicine. We are that medicine. I mean, really, it is. We're the ones we've been waiting for, truly. But that means you need to have patience. And that means we have to persevere in our own practice. Does that make sense, everybody? Does that make sense? Like, this is the time to root down. I feel like if I forget, even for a few minutes, I get swept away. And I was telling this to a friend of mine. I said, my God, it's hard for me. And I'm a Dharma teacher to keep centered. I think about everybody else. I don't know what's going to happen in the next year or so. This energy is so powerful. It's such a destructive tsunami. And it's also good too, right? It's sometimes the destroying brings about the light. So everything's happening cause and condition, causes that are bigger than us. Everything's unfolding lawfully as it should. But I say this to us because we've got to remember to be patient and to persevere right now and to become a practitioner, everyone. Right? We have to go to a level of mastery now to stay sane and to stay in that true heart wisdom frequency. It's us, people like us, that will ground this new paradigm, the new systems that want to be built on love and compassion. We are the ones that through our own hearts, we resonate that. Don't underestimate how a year of doing practices like these could change your whole reality. You could become a very different person. Because when we're rooted in this heart energy, we often have great courage too. It gives us a kind of ability to show up. It gives us, because the heart's in control, the mind sort of moves to the side, and the heart knows how to move with compassion and grace and liberation on its mind. The heart has always the we consciousness, right? The heart's always thinking in terms of all beings. The mind is in the mind's in the matrix. The heart is always trying to liberate out of that. because that's its nature. It's boundless, right? It's immeasurable. So I feel like, in a way, I'm sharing this with you all because as I begin to start doing more retreats, I'm going to be inviting you all to carry this frequency. And we're going deeper and deeper with that. Because as the destruction on the outer becomes more powerful, the inner has to light up higher, shiny, brighter, more powerful. So this is a powerful time to be alive. This is a powerful time to witness. And I love that I am recording all these videos. I want to thank all the people who might be looking at us on YouTube. And I'm recording these videos for historical purposes, time capsules, as future generations go, what in the, 2025? Oh my God, humanity was, and we'll be right here going, future generations, we were practicing for you. We were thinking of you. We were loving you. We were holding it down for you. And we want to be that, don't we? This life is very impermanent right now. We could die tomorrow, die happy, die that warrior of love. Like I'm right now, I feel very fearless in Georgia. I've almost died a couple of times. So I'm like, all right, here we go. Like if I die tomorrow, okay, so be it. But I died talking about that heart. So in a way, so be it. We all pass away. We're in a time of a lot of uncertainty. We're here today. Tomorrow, we don't know. We could be in the spirit world. So just there's no better time than to practice. So I was a little fired up on patience and perseverance. Be patient with yourselves. Know that we're exhausted. Is anyone tired this week? Like the fatigue was like, oh, it's because we're pulling out ancient temples of love from the earth. That's tiring. We're pulling up this, out of the core, temples and palaces of love and devotion. It's been buried, right? And a lot of us, we're resurrecting that. It's in our bodies. We feel it. And we're like, no, while the outer destruction is happening, there's a group of us that we will resurrect these temples out of the earth, out of the stones and the bottoms of the ocean. That's the work that's happening. I know in my own shamanic work and the work I'm doing with you all. But so to remember, everybody, patience for yourself and persevere. No matter what is happening in the outer, we stay with that frequency. Right? We have to be continuous now, as this is going to get chaotic, because that's what it does when a system is shifting. That's systems theory, right? Goes utter chaos, complete breakdown. But if we have the heart, we're going to be able to be a refuge for one another and for our people, right? For our people. And that's also why, to me, this heart class, it means so much.